everyone, I'm Savannah and this is Unisense. We are all about fragrances. We do fragrance reviews, comparisons, collections, hauls, niche, designer, and Middle Eastern fragrances. Today, I'll be reviewing Francique 107.9 from FA Paris. I don't know if you say FA Paris or if you say FA Paris, but I'm going to say FA Paris. If this sounds like something you'd be interested in, please consider subscribing and turn post notifications on. Let's get into it. So if we look at the packaging, this is the packaging of Francique 107.9 by FA Paris. My box came a little bit damaged, but I think that was just because of the traveling when it was delivered by the courier. But I think this packaging is pretty cool. I like the uniqueness of it. I like the bottle as well. So that's the bottle. The only thing that I did notice about this bottle is that the edges of this glass is very, very, very sharp. So be very careful. They haven't rounded it, especially at the bottoms. They haven't rounded the edges. So it is quite sharp, so it can cut you. So just be careful of that when handling it. So this fragrance is actually supposed to be a dupe of BDK's Rouge Smoking, which I love that fragrance, and I definitely will get it one day. But for now, I am sticking with this. So it is supposed to be a dupe of that, and of course that packaging is beautiful and elegant as per all of BDK's fragrances. So if we look at the note structure of BDK and Francique, Francique, in the top we have Italian bergamot, cherry, and rose blossoms. In the mid we have black vanilla and heliotrope, and in the base we have ambroxan, cashmere, tonka bean, labdanum, and white musk. Where in Rouge Smoking, in the top we have cherry, pink pepper, and bergamot. In the mid we have black vanilla husk, heliotrope, and orange blossom. And in the base, we have tonka bean, cashmere wood, white musk, ambroxan, labdanum, and violet. So there are quite a few similar notes in these. There are some that are missing, but there are quite a few similar notes between the two. So we have an okay atomizer, not amazing atomizer. Ow. You see that scratched me, the corner of the glass actually just scratched me again. The glass actually made me bleed. Okay, so if we smell this and compare it to Rouge Smoking, there are a few differences. So firstly, the cherry is not as strong in here as it is in Rouge Smoking. They are both quite smoky though. Francique is slightly sweeter though. That's what I do notice. The Francique is slightly sweeter than Rouge Smoking. And it's also slightly more vanillic as well. So I get a sweeter, more vanillic vibe from Francique than from Rouge Smoking. Rouge Smoking is very, very heavy cherry, and I really, really enjoy that from it. So it's missing a little bit of the cherry in Francique. So although this is marketed as unisex, I do believe it leans feminine. I don't think that it's completely unisex. Look, I think a man could pull it off if they wanted to and if they're okay with a slightly feminine leaning fragrance, but I think it's more suited for more feminine people. There's also in Rouge Smoking, there is a powdery aspect which I don't get in Francique. So that's another aspect that's a little bit lost in the dupe. So there are some differences, but they are quite similar in general if you look at the big picture. I'm just nitpicking at like small little differences. In terms of how the fragrance is for occasion wise, I find it a very sexy, sensual fragrance. So I would say that this would be good for a date night, for a night out, for, you know, some special occasion that you want to smell sexy and you want to smell very sensual. I think it's a good fragrance for that. I actually forgot to spray it on my skin. Let me try not cut myself this time with the glass. Yeah, this is definitely more vanillic than Rouge Smoking and less cherry. There is the cherry aspect, so you do get cherry from it, but it's not quite as strong and enveloping. I found when I tested out Rouge Smoking, there's also almost a velvet-like texture when you smell it. I don't know how to explain it in terms of smelling it, that it's velvety when you smell it, but that's the kind of image that kind of comes into my head when I smell Rouge Smoking. I get this velvety texture, which I don't quite get in Francique. I get more of a sweetness from Francique. I get it more vanilla cherry, more fun, flirty, that kind of fragrance, where Rouge Smoking is quite sensual. It is a very sexy, sensual fragrance. Not that Francique isn't, but it's not quite on the same level. I would say even with all those little differences, because I'm nitpicking, it really is small differences, but I would say that they're about 85 to 90% similar, just missing that massive amount of cherry. There is cherry, but it's just not quite as strong. And it's obviously not quite as, the fragrance is not quite as refined as in Rouge Smoking. But in terms of performance, I must admit I struggle with Rouge Smoking with the performance. I get very, very poor longevity with Rouge Smoking. I get only 3 to 4 hours longevity with Rouge Smoking and quite soft projection, which I know it's quite an intimate scent, so it is sensual. It's supposed to be more for like close contact. But I like my fragrances to project, and I found that Francique has much better performance overall. So I get moderate projection, not strong projection, but I get moderate projection. And I get about 6 to 7 hours of longevity with this fragrance. So all in all, I think they do balance out in terms of, there's a small aspect that's missing in Francique that is present in Rouge Smoking, but performance is a lot better in Francique than Rouge Smoking. So I think they kind of outweigh each other in terms of pros and cons, but they are both beautiful scents, and I do recommend both of them. If you're on a budget though, I would say definitely go for Francique. I think it's a really good buy. Just one minor detail that I already mentioned, be careful of the glass. I actually cut myself on it and it made me bleed. So be careful of this bottom glass and the corners. The corners are extremely, extremely sharp. So just be a little bit careful with handling it. So that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you found this interesting, please click that like button and subscribe. It really helps the channel. And if you'd like to see more videos like this, then please let me know and let me know what other fragrances you'd like me to review. I'll see you next time. Bye!